Hello and greetings, fellow StarCrafters, just as soon as I start the game. And welcome back to game number 2 between the Terran player SjoW down here in the bottom left corner and his opponent, the Red Terran, WhiteRa, who is behind 0-1 after losing to that 1-1 build after his failed little 4-gate robo shenanigans that he tried in that previous game. Alright, and this map is going to be Daybreak. This map was created for, and well, at least popularized by, but I'm pretty sure it was created for the GSL itself. As such, I've seen a number of games on the GSL from this map, although it is a fairly new map to the map pool, maybe only a couple months old or something like that. It is an absolutely gigantic map. If you watch, maybe we'll watch the scout. Is he scouting? Yeah. So we can go ahead and watch this probe scout. He has to walk all the way down this little corner. He has to take a left turn because there are actually destructible rocks right here in the middle, which you have to destroy in order to get through that little middle path. So workers have to go around that, and then they go all the way over here. And actually, oh no, that must be okay. That's a scout. I was gonna say I thought he was maybe proxying, but he would have sent that a lot earlier if he was indeed proxying, as it does take that long to get over to your opponent, and he also would not have built a pylon at home if he was proxying. So he's gonna go ahead. The probe is going to come up, and it's probably going to block. Well, I guess sort of try to block the barracks from going down. But the barracks is going to be built in a different location. It's really not that big of a deal, and actually looks like SjoW is just going to. Oh no, SjoW's actually going for a command center first. It looks like. So it will actually not be blocked by that. And so actually the probe is probably going to have a lot of kind of interesting opportunity there to block the command center from going down. Of course, Terran players can place their headquarter buildings, you know, whatever their gathering buildings are called. I guess command centers, hatcheries, nexuses, whatever those are called. They can place them in different areas. Like he can just go ahead and build his command center right here, for example. And actually he's just going to build it inside of the base because there's really no reason not to, right? Like it's not really that big of a problem. All you have to do is lift it and move it. However, pylon was canceled, so that is going to be nice for WhiteRa. Looks like WhiteRa is going to be going for a 1 gateway expansion. Kind of interesting actually that WhiteRa did not in fact opt to go for the Nexus first on this map. I realize he did lose that 1-1 build in the previous map, but this is such a big map that it's fairly safe to go Nexus first, especially from a Protoss perspective, as Protoss do tend to have an easier time holding a Nexus first than, for example, a Terran would against like a 4-gate of a command center first. Although even on this map too, it's actually just fine to go for a command center first, as you see that SjoW was doing. Now he did actually open the supply depot to let the probe in. I'm not quite sure why he did that. It's almost like he just wants WhiteRa to know exactly what he's doing. On the other hand, I guess he just didn't want the probe to be damaging the supply depot. I mean, that really isn't that big of a deal. I'm not sure why he decided to let the probe in, but he did nonetheless. The Nexus is on the way for WhiteRa. It is just a little bit behind the command center, but the command center will have to build an orbital, of course, before it leaves. And so that, so we should see actually an orbital going down fairly quickly. Actually, 3 barracks. Oh, this is a really weird command center first. So the orbitals are now going to be delayed as a result of these 3 barracks. And WhiteRa actually still has that probe inside of the base, seeing exactly what's going on. This orbital command should be finishing fairly soon. Actually, SCVs are just going to be able to take out that probe. Poor little probe is going to go, in fact, go down right there, and both orbitals are now started. Those were actually fairly delayed, though, maybe 15 seconds or so after the first barracks was completed, maybe even 20, so that he could get those additional barrackses. Maybe that's kind of for safety's sake. I don't think SjoW actually scouted this game. Is that correct? Yes, he did not actually scout. Okay, so that explains what he's doing. So, SjoW actually has been known in the past for not scouting. And he kind of justifies it by saying, like, well, if I play a really safe build, the extra minerals I get from not setting an early worker scout is actually going to help me create a safe build that will be able to defend any kind of Protoss all-in attack. So if he got 3-gated this time, or 4-gated this time, it would have been a surprise to him. So that's why he built 3 barracks before getting the orbital commands, just to make sure he had the marine production to be able to hold off any sort of 4-gate that was coming on the part of WhiteRa, or some sort of all-in, which is, I mean, there was not really that many super early all-ins you could do. I mean, you could proxy rush, but a proxy rush would basically just kill SjoW, depending on the circumstances, if it was not spotted. Now, WhiteRa is going for 3 gateways after his expansion. He has not chosen a tech route, and he's also opted not to get a second gas yet, which is very interesting. SjoW actually is only at 1 gas as well, so this is a very low gas build. I'm almost interested to see if WhiteRa is actually going to get another 3rd Nexus fairly quickly. I would guess most likely that is actually not going to be the case, just because it would be a very heavy economic build that isn't very that common. Looks like this Stalker is going to try to sneak around, maybe cause some sort of economic damage, most likely just try to poke at the Marines just a little bit. And indeed, he is actually, he's actually going to get a Marine kill. Nice job. And Stalker's going to get out without losing any health damage right now. He also has the Watchtower right there, so with the Stalker on the side and with the Zealot right here, he's actually going to be able to see exactly what SjoW is and is not doing. Meanwhile, a second command center is coming down from SjoW, and there is a WhiteRa is opting for a third command center quite quickly. They're actually almost exactly timed, except for that this command center is going to have to be moved to its location, and it's fairly far from that location as well. So WhiteRa is actually going to be a little bit farther ahead economically, and actually if you look at the current supply, he's actually 10 supply ahead, which is all of better macroing right now, which is very interesting actually, that he's so far ahead purely on better macro. I guess he killed, what did he kill? One Marine, but SjoW killed one supply depot, or not one supply depot, SjoW killed one probe, so that's kind of equal. I believe they both, and then there's the cancelled building, which doesn't count as units lost but counts as resources. And it looks like SjoW also lost an SCV or another Marine somewhere else as well. So this is actually going to be a very heavy macro game. It's going to be basically the complete opposite of the last game, as they were both still on one base right now, which is where they would have been on, they would have been on, in the previous game they would have been on one base. This game they're on 3 bases right now, which is very impressive for them. Just kind of how quickly they're ramping up their probe production. If you go to look at the workers tab, we see that WhiteRa is in fact 11 ahead on workers right now, which partially explains why he is ahead on supply, because he's been chrono boosting out a bunch of workers right now. But I think I just saw a double chrono. Oh, there's the chronoing out charge and armor. Okay, so that's what he's kind of go for. He's going to go for a Zealot heavy build. This is one of those builds that was super popular maybe 6 months ago, where you get tons and tons of Zealots, and now Terran players have kind of realized that you kind of just increase your Marine counts to deal with that. And I mean, look at SjoW. SjoW already does have a very large Marine count. He's also getting a lot of Marauders, building 4 at once, 4 tech labs. Wow, actually. It's actually a huge amount of tech labs. You can see his orbital command is now moving out. Unfortunately for him, WhiteRa has already started his command center right there. This Marine is actually going to be checking for that. As you can see, a scout still has not come out for SjoW yet. So SjoW is only just now scouting. He's not scouting with a worker either. He's just trying to be as safe as possible. Well, not safe. He's trying to make sure that he has enough economy as possible and maximizing the amount of workers that are actually mining resources and not doing other things. Whereas other players tend to scout, a lot more and try to, different kind of things. I guess it's just a different style. Typically, though, I mean, you just have to play a different kind of way. If you're not scouting, you want to make sure that you don't you play a build that's generally safe against everything. You can't really tailor your build to focus on your opponent, because they can be doing anything and you really don't know. WhiteRa is laying a pylon down here, not here, as he's going to, I mean, it's probably going to be primarily for scouting, also possibly scouting for drops. Looks like that SCV is going to spot that just as soon as it finishes, though. And those forces are going to take it out, as well as that probe. Probe is actually going to escape. And that is going to, in fact, supply block WhiteRa just temporarily, as his pylon does finish, and 3 more pylons are on the way. It actually looks like SjoW is aiming for an attack right now. He does have Stim Dum combat shields as well as Marauder slow. So this is going to be a very effective attack right now. Those Zealots just wasted their charge on that SCV up front right now. So actually these Marines and Marauders are going to do very well against them, as the slow is working up, and as soon as the charge recharges, they're actually all going to be dead. So WhiteRa is going to lose a lot of forces right there. And as you can see, that actually even up the supply count dramatically. Luckily, is he going to be not able to save that sentry right there. Sentry is going to be taken out for him. A couple of bunkers are going to go down almost immediately. It's going to break up the Zealot charge radius right now. Look how fast they melt those Stalkers, just almost immediately going away. Those bunkers are going to be taken out, and actually probably SjoW is going to want to back off pretty quickly right now, although additional reinforcements are going to come in and are actually going to let SjoW deal a lot more damage to this army, as he really hasn't lost that many forces. He's taken a lot of damage from his stims, but WhiteRa is definitely behind here. You can see he's behind by 16 supply right now. It's kind of an awkward timing for SjoW, but it ended up working out very well for him. He does have weapons level 1 done, which is why he's able to deal so much damage, and actually I would actually probably recommend backing up, but looks like he's not opting to do that. Unfortunately, a Warp Prism is going right overhead. I think WhiteRa is going to try to warp in forces underneath, as there are very few Marines actually left in this army. It looks like WhiteRa is not quite opting to do that, but SjoW is just going to go ahead and keep kiting with this little force. Reinforcements, however, are going to be able to allow the last of these Zealots to be picked apart, as they do only have 1 armor upgrade. They are about to get their 2nd armor upgrade, and that Immortal was in the long location, being taken out almost immediately as well, and probably I've been saying this for a while, but SjoW's going to want to try to back out. I think he's trying to apply constant pressure until he can actually kill his opponent. However, this Warp Prism is now inside of his base. He has warped in one Zealot right now, so SjoW's going to have to deal with that. He does have a Marine available to help fight that, as well as some Marauders and so on. Will be able to take some damage right there and deal with that. A couple of Medivacs are on the way. Those Medivacs will be able to heal up his army, and actually it looks like he is going to cancel that Warp in by folding up his Warp Prism. The Warp Prism is going to go ahead and fly away. Maybe a couple of turrets will go down to prevent any sort of those shenanigans in the future. Also, SjoW probably needs an army as well. Oh, looks like he is going for Ghosts. So he's probably going to be going for the kill right now. Did he just kill additional forces? Okay, not quite sure why he stemmed there. It might have been a little bit of a premature stem. The Medivacs will be arriving pretty soon, though, and that'll be able to heal up the rest of his army. Looks like a ton of these Zealots are going to go ahead and fly on through, but without Stalkers, Zealots could just be kited all day long. They really don't deal that much damage as long as the Terran player keeps on kiting. So really, WhiteRa needs some additional offensive units to be able to help in terms of damage dealing output, and then Immortal's going to help, just not enough, as that Immortal will be taken out as well. And SjoW is now ahead by almost 30 supply, equaled out a little bit by that warp in right now. But even though that there are 2 armor upgrades right now for WhiteRa, SjoW's going to be able to move in. He actually very possibly may be able to take out this Nexus, and unfortunately for WhiteRa, his robotics bay is down here as well, so that will fall down as well, and SjoW is just taking a larger and larger lead. Looks like these additional Zealots have been warping in, killing some workers right here, dealing some additional damage. However, the Warp Prism is going to have to go away. He did get 13 worker kills. If you look at the worker tab right now, we are down a significant amount of workers. However, nice focus firing on those Immortals is going to take those out very rapidly, and it's going to want to pick up the rest of those Marauders and get on out of there, or just kind of fly into the cannon. That's probably not the best move. Uh-oh, WhiteRa, there he goes, WhiteRa. Ooh, barely able to save that Medivac, one shot away from being taken out. And so right now, SjoW is actually behind on the economy because so many workers were actually killed by that Warp Prism right there. As we see, he's now down by 20 workers, which is a very significant amount of workers. And this is like the smallest army, smallest ragtag group of units, but it looks like if they focus fire, they will be able to, in fact, take out that Nexus and then run on out of there, only losing a single Marine in the process. And the Medivacs will be able to heal them up as well. So that is actually going to put SjoW back on top of the economy, not just because he's mining from 3 bases, which means he's mining more efficiently, but also because he is able to build 3 SCVs at once as long as he keeps up on his SCV production. Looks like those Marines and Marauders will be able to take out the rest of these Zealots right here. Colossus now on the way for WhiteRa, as well as Armor level 3. Armor level 3 is going to be extremely important for WhiteRa in holding out these Marines. You can see how long they take to kill just with Armor level 2, much less when Armor level 3 actually finishes on this combat. Looks like, oh, that Colossus chose the wrong time to try to engage down there, as those forces will be able to move up and just take it out almost immediately. These Archons are going to be focused down, take a little bit of damage, but I'm not sure too much more damage is going to be able to dealt for SjoW. Actually, those Archons are falling very rapidly, much faster than I thought they would. And it looks like he's actually going to be able to take out this Nexus as well. Additional forces are streaming in from SjoW. He's building 11 Marines at a time, and this Nexus will be canceled one more time, as well as this Robotics Bay will most likely be taken out as soon as SjoW kind of focus fires it down, and looks like he will be doing that pretty soon. No Storm yet for WhiteRa, so despite the fact that he has almost all of his tier 3 tech except for his air tech, he is actually doesn't have any of the upgrades for any of his important units, so he's only able to feed back Medivacs right there before being taken out. And he has built a Nexus down here. This Nexus is finished, but he can't transfer any workers to it because SjoW's army is completely surrounding his forces. And actually, it looks like WhiteRa might just be run over right here. 2 additional command centers for SjoW are coming down. That's just to kind of increase the amount of mule production that he has and to allow him to take additional bases. And he has taken additional base in the middle right now. But it looks like he is just going to go ahead and kill WhiteRa right now, as he is now up by 60 supply, and WhiteRa is just going to have to GG out of this game. Very interesting timing attack. It was just constant pressure. I even told him a couple of times to go home, but he decided to ignore that completely and keep on attacking, and he proved to be the better player. Obviously, he's a better player than me, as he's a professional player, and just kept on relentlessly moving and rallying new units down and making sure that WhiteRa was never able to catch a breather there, able to tack up at any point in time. And WhiteRa actually was banking a large amount of resources through a large portion of that game. And while WhiteRa was ahead on upgrades, having armor level 3 right at the end and armor level 2 for the majority of the game, the vast majority of units from SjoW were just able to deal all their damage. And WhiteRa's gateway composition was also incorrect because he didn't have any sentries to force field these units, and he also didn't have any stalkers to be able to deal damage as the Terran army retreated. So, SjoW could just kite these zealots all day, and just kite, take out all the zealots, then all of a sudden he could just focus fire the immortals and focus fire the stalkers down, and then all of a sudden WhiteRa's out of an army, and then SjoW's army is being killed by a medevacs, and he's able to take out the Nexus, and one thing led to another, and eventually SjoW was able to take that small supply lead, turn into a big supply lead, and take the game and the match. Very impressive game from SjoW right there. Impressive game from WhiteRa as well, but just bested just by the best of them, I suppose. And very nice series. SjoW did win the match 2-0. And, this was from the Grubby match, which I will put information on. Well, at least I'll put in my little box in the info booth, just so you all know. But very nice games. This is PjoW Minecraft signing off.